I remember very well, like it was yesterday, was I think in the autumn of 2019, when we were sitting together in Beaconsfield in the back of the house and observing planes coming in, landing to Heathrow, and you had your radio. What do you call that radio? What's the name of the
It's an airband scanner, airband radio.
airband
So
scanner? You're
basically,
right.
yeah.
And interestingly, I have the video of us listening in to these pilots on YouTube. And there's a beautiful Star of David in the back, made of chemtrails. I mean contrails.
No, fucking no. I just had him on the scanner.
Can you hear them?
Yeah.
What are they saying? Yeah, saying something. Definitely saying something.
It's my religion. I must now check flight radar 24.
Yeah.
That's my religion. So we're able to find out where he came from.
Who is he? That's the one.
So it's come from Vancouver.
Coming from Vancouver to London.
Yeah.
British Airways.
A380.
A380.
And it is. The airplane is 5 years old.
5 years old, eh? Yeah, you can see the age of it. Yeah, 5
And
years
any
old.
geeks who want the reg, it's there.
How old? How many years do these last? These Air 380s? 25 years?
Depends on how much money the company wants to spend on them.
Yeah,
It's
but
all about
on
money
average.
It's all about money these days.
Yeah, on
10,
average,
15 years
10,
max.
15 years. Something happened. I looked up at these planes, and of course, I saw the contrails, and of course, I had forgotten the word for contrails, and I incidentally said chemtrails, and you were quite upset, and you said, "Do you believe?"
No, not upset. Not upset.
Yeah, but you were quite astonished.
Amused. Amused.
Yeah,
Amused.
amused, I would say. You were surprised. You asked me, "Do you believe in the chemtrails theory?" And then you had to explain to me what this conspiracy theory is. So I still have people. Incidentally, I'm not gonna give names here, but I have a friend who works in the United Nations. She is up in the, I would say, the middle echelons of the United Nations, and she's an active believer in the chemtrails conspiracy theory, and that kind of blew my mind because here is a woman working. She's in the, I would say, a fairly high position in the United Nations, and believes in such a stupid conspiracy theory. Could you throw some light into this chemtrail thing? Because as far as I know, they believe that the government, particularly the United States government, fill in tanks upon tanks of, what was it, phosphorus, some sort of chemical, and they actively spray it. And then it descends down onto the population, and we breathe it, and we then become intellectually numb, and we believe everything that the government says. I mean, that's the conspiracy theory in a nutshell. Could you throw some light into it? What do you think about this?
Well, that's kind of what people believe in that. They believe that there's a button in the cockpit which you press, the chemtrail button, and
Right,
no one's ever felt it, right? And
right,
yeah, as you say, it's just like they spray it out, and then it descends, and it's poisonous or mind control, or it controls the weather as another big one as well. They can make it,
right.
they can cause natural disasters and floods around with it as well. It's just absolute nonsense. But really, what it is as most people know, it's just the moisture in the atmosphere. When there's a certain amount of humidity in an atmosphere, that's when you'll see the contrails, it's the proper name, not chemtrail, out of the back of the plane. And it
Right.
depends on what height the plane is flying.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it's visible, sometimes it's not, but it's totally out of control by the pilot. It's
I
just a
see.
natural
And this is the first time I'm
phenomenon.
hearing this, that it causes manipulations in the weather and causes natural disasters. I thought they only kind of allegedly make you intellectually numb, but do they also allegedly control the weather according to this theory?
Well, I think the theory is there's more than one type of chemical they can put in the supposed tanks.
Right.
So yeah, it depends which one they choose to spray, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Which also brings me to this. I have a good friend, and all of this supposedly comes out of the United States, primarily, these new conspiracy theories. Americans are very
Yeah,
much well versed in the art of making conspiracy theories, I would say. I have a very good friend from North Carolina. She's a nurse, very educated wonderful lady, but she feeds off of these conspiracy theories. And she recently sent me a video from the what 1960s when Kennedy was president, and in which Kennedy speaks about weather control, and he means it well.
We shall propose further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
Like, he is talking about preventing rainfall, excessive rainfall, or droughts. He's talking about optimizing the weather, right? And she has connected it with the recent earthquake in Turkey, saying that America is somehow behind the Turkey earthquakes because of something that some minor Turkish politician said about the United States. So as revenge, America has decided to cause this earthquake in Turkey. Like, how easy it is to just jump down the rabbit hole and make all these fantastical claims. And the worst part of it is that most people believe blindly.
I don't know. I think it's social media that people believe this, and I blame a lot of it on things like TikTok.
Oh,
they get the news, they see it on TikTok, they think, oh, it must be true, or it's on the internet, it must be true. Or this random guy said it in this forum, I've never heard of his name, but it must be true because they're all agreeing with it. And
right.
Obviously, it's impossible to control earthquakes or predict it. And going back to controlling the weather, and there is actually a thing called cloud seeding. It can be done, but it's only for a very localized effect, like this one cloud. You can sometimes manipulate it a little bit. So that is actually fact. It's called cloud seeding. It does happen.
True.
But there's no way it can cause a massive hurricane or a massive natural disaster or anything like that.
Earthquake. I mean, if you say, you can cause an artificial tornado, okay, it's a little believable, but you cannot literally cause an earthquake. It's beyond human technology right now. The Jewish people are targeted for decades now for being able to control the weather, right? And yeah, most of it is social media. Social media kind of legitimizes. And I think what happens is that if there is a minor tinge of some truth, I mean, if it is based on a minor tinge of truth somewhere, that legitimizes the entire theory, no matter how crazy it is. So, for example, people were all anti-vaccine, and I'm also not a big fan of the vaccine. And well, all these Pfizer documents are coming out now, and that legitimizes what the conspiracy theorists were talking about Pfizer. That is true, admit that. But there were other things that people were, jumping the gun about the vaccines. And there are many things that are totally untrue and some things that are true that's coming out now. But the majority of the conspiracy theories, especially spewed out by the conservatives in the United States and also in Europe, are just plain nonsensical.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that normally the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I definitely think with the vaccines, I think the main driver was money.
Right.
And
absolutely.
yes, I'm sure there's bribery going on with the companies and governments, but it's mainly about the money. It's not like they want to depopulate the Western population or anything like that. That's just a load of nonsense,
absolutely
obviously.
not. Right.
And yes, it was rushed, and yes, some people will die from it, and some people have side effects. But the reason is because it's been given to millions and millions of people.
True.
So of course, if you give paracetamol to like hundreds of millions of people, some people are going to have very serious side effects. Some might even die. It even says on the packet.
Right.
I prove it.
I mean, almost all medications have side effects, purported side effects, which the pharmaceutical companies always give a disclaimer of the potential side effects. So it's not a big deal. When you give it to the population of an entire country, you expect a couple of hundred people to fall sick and maybe a few to die, and it's quite normal. But with Pfizer kind of like admitted on air, Project Veritas kind of exposed it, that they were trying to manipulate the virus so that they get more sales with the vaccine, which was recently outed in 2 weeks ago. So that's there. So what happens is that when such a legitimate thing comes out, that gives more leverage to the other stupid conspiracy theories, right? So this came true, so that would also come true. That's the logic behind it, right?
Yeah, they just put more layers on it and believe more things just because